What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Happy Monday, people. It is the start of the week and a very important week when it comes to Arsenal and potential transfer news. Big up to everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a good Father's Day yesterday, to all the fathers in here, or celebrating with your dads, or all the mums who played the father role and all of that. So big up to everyone who was celebrating yesterday. And listen, it's Monday. Let's talk transfers again. This is a big week for Arsenal Football Club. And I know we've said this numerous times, but this, for me, just feels like a vital week. The international break finishes over the next day or so. Players are going to start flying out on holiday. And you find a lot of the time that a lot of players want to get their futures sorted out before they go on holiday. Because naturally, as a player, you want to be on holiday, you want to relax. You don't want the phone ringing, you know, your agent's calling you, you're discussing a contract. You want to be able to relax. So this is a massive week. And believe it or not, we are only 2 weeks away from the start of pre-season. Pre-season starts in 2 weeks, people. So, you know, players want to be arriving at their new clubs. The last thing you want to do as a player, trust me, is go back to a club for pre-season knowing that you could potentially be leaving a week or two later. You don't want to do that. So, listen, big week for the football club. International break ends. We need to get some business done for sure. Big up everyone tuned in. Yeah, it was Aubameyang's birthday yesterday. That's why he's on the green screen. And listen, you've seen me. I put Alexis Sanchez on the background before. You know, these are streets won't forget ballers at Arsenal, and obviously he paid homage to the Henry celebration, so he gets a squeeze on there for today. He won't be on there tomorrow though, people. Can't wait for the US vlogs. Listen, that tour is gonna be amazing. I can't wait. Hopefully meet a lot of the community over there as well. Big up Football Capo. He said our midfield once again failing at key moments heading into next season. We are owed an elite shake-up. You're right. And we are, I think, going to have a shake-up. But the problem is it the right shake-up to do? That's where the question, we're going to delve into that today. And we're going to have to talk about the Saudi takeover, people, of football in general. 10 or 15 years ago, we heard the Chinese league talking about they wanted to become one of the biggest leagues in the world. They started throwing big money at people. After about 2 years, they stopped. They realized they couldn't do it. And they put like wage caps in place. The Saudis, you're talking about a different ball game. That Arab money ain't no joke. You remember the song back in the, we're talking Arab money. They're not playing games. They said 20 big players are going there this summer. And they're probably halfway there already. This morning, Ruben Neves, you know, linked with Barcelona, Man United, Arsenal, Saudi. Here we go. No messing around. It's one of them. Yeah, Ruben, do you want to go Saudi? Nah, not interested, mate. Want to go to Barcelona. 500 grand a week. Yeah, I'd love to go there, mate. It's always been a lifetime dream of mine. I'm on the next flight. These men aren't playing. Money talks, people. So Ruben Neves is going there. Mendy's agreed terms. Ziyech has agreed terms. They've got Kante. They've got Benzi. Ronaldo's there. They're not messing about, people. I'm telling you, they are going to become a problem over the next year or so. So we'll see. Their money is really, it can go a long way. That oil money ain't no joke. So anyway, let's start with the first story, actually, that is related, obviously, to the Saudi situation at Arsenal. I want to have a discussion with you on this, people, in terms of how this could have an effect on Arsenal and whether this is something you want to happen or not. Now, we spoke about it briefly the other day, but S.R. Collins, who is a pretty good reporter for the Evening Standard, has said in today's paper that Arsenal are prepared to sell Thomas Partey if a suitable offer arrives. There is a long-term interest in Moises Caicedo and Ilkay Gundogan. Now, when you read the whole story, just to give you a little breakdown, Arsenal apparently are prepared to let him go if they can get £30 million back. They paid 45. He's been at the club 3 years. If they can get £30 million, they're prepared to sell him. I'm going to put a poll up for this one because this is not clear-cut. And I think this will divide opinion a little bit in the community. So I'll put a poll up. I'll put in the poll, would you sell Thomas Partey for 30 million this summer? So that will be the question. Would you sell Partey for 30 million this summer. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown and my opinion of this and what I think Arsenal should do, because it sounds as if we're going to have a shake-up in midfield, but it also has to be the right kind of shake-up. This ain't just about selling players to bring players in. You've got to sell the right players and bring the right players in. So, the poll's up. Let me know in the poll. Get a vote. Would you sell Thomas Partey for 30 million? Bear in mind, he's the joint second highest paid player at the football club along with Gabby Jesus. So he's on big wages. He's just turned 30. I'm going to give you my opinion and breakdown. I'll be clicking on your comments. We'll have more of a discussion afterwards. On the downside of Thomas Partey, and I say this, we have uncomfortable conversations on this channel, respectfully, but uncomfortable. We're not going to, avoid things that need to be discussed. As I've said before, we know what's lurking potentially in the background with Thomas Partey. We know there is word of things going off the pitch. Now, guilty or not guilty, we don't know. But we know that if he was ever found guilty of anything, there's potentially could be locked up or sacked and the club lose all the money. That's the first thing. Purely from a footballing point of view as well, Thomas Partey has not had a full season at Arsenal in 3 where I can turn around and go, do you know what? He did it for the whole season. He was outstanding. I'm probably being a little bit harsh on him this season because I think until probably the start of April, we were talking about one of the best defensive midfielders in Europe. There were a lot of conversations. Is he better than, Rodri and Casemiro this season? But the drop-off at the end of the season was huge. Like, it wasn't, Partey's a little bit out of form, but we can work with it. We'll get through games with him playing like this. It was like, yo, is this Eric Jemba? Like, is he 67 years of age? What on earth am I watching? He was so bad at the end of the season. We went with a double pivot of Jorginho and Xhaka. And nobody was complaining. That's how bad he was playing. And that is a worry for me. How can he go from up here to that drop-off? Why does he not get through a whole season? I don't understand it. I don't get it. If I'm just going to look at this from a footballing perspective, and in the best interests of Arsenal, right? I said that Thomas Partey might not be the problem. The problem could be that we are relying on him too heavily. We look at him as our main midfielder. We've built our midfield around him. From a purely footballing point of view, I don't think Arsenal should sell him. From if we're just talking pure football. And I tell you why. We've got 4 centre midfielders at the moment, right? El Neni, who's actually out of contract at the end of this month. But we heard Arteta say he'd give him a new deal. I hope he doesn't. But if he does, you're saying El Neni, Jorginho with a year left, Granit Xhaka, I think, will leave, and Thomas Partey. The reality of the situation is Thomas Partey is Arsenal's best midfielder. Let's just say it how it is. When he's performing at a good level, he's better than any midfielder at Arsenal Football Club. None of them can perform at his level. He can boss most midfielders in the league when he's at it. And let's be real, until the start of April, he was outstanding. He was absolutely outstanding. We were saying this is his best season. He's hardly had an injury this year. He's dominating against the big teams. He even started scoring a few goals. Pigeons were safe this year. Whipped a couple bangers in. 33 games he played this year. He only missed 5. That was his best season. 24 previously before that. So for me, from a football point of view, I don't think you should be selling Thomas Partey. I don't think you should, because to me, if you've got 4 midfielders, get rid of the 4th one and get rid of the 3rd one. Don't get rid of the best one. The reality is, and no matter what anyone thinks about the situation, if we sell Partey and sell Granit Xhaka, and we replace them with, let's just say, for example, Declan Rice and Romeo Lavia, there's actually no guarantee that 2 new midfielders are going to be better than the 2 that we've just sold in terms of a partnership. Because we've seen it before. 2 quality players does not always equate to a good partnership. Xhaka and Partey are very good together. So, to me, I can only think that Arsenal are thinking, The PR off the pitch, it's a PR disaster if it goes wrong. He's 30 years of age, he's injury prone, and the Saudis want him. Do we cash in and get a 200 grand a week player off the wage bill? That's the only thing that I'm thinking is why Arsenal are looking to cash in on him. And it also says that Thomas Partey is open to the possibility of leaving, which I don't know if that's a good sign either. You know, maybe he wants out of England. As a lot of you have said in the comments, he's getting booed at away grounds, you know, and Arsenal won't like that. So it's interesting. For me, if you get Caicedo and Rice and you sell Xhaka and Partey, I can probably get my head around that. But Rice and Lavia might not be better than Xhaka and Partey. Lavia has had one season in the Premier League at the team that finished bottom. You know, he could be a slightly better version of Sambi. We don't know. It's all right looking good for Southampton. But Danny Ings looked fantastic at Southampton. He didn't look fantastic at Liverpool when he went there. So I think that's very risky. To go and spend £100 million on Rice and 40 million on Lavia, sell Partey for 30 and Xhaka for 12, so you're getting 42 million. I think that's a big risk. For me, I would have been selling, getting rid of El Neni. If Xhaka wants to go, fair enough. Maybe you keep Jorginho for the last year of his contract just for experience and his quality on the ball. So you would have had Jorginho, Partey, Declan Rice and one other, whether that would have been Lavia or Caicedo. Selling him is risky. But like I said, maybe it's to do with issues off the pitch. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let's have a chat. A few super chats. Gonna roll no way unless we sign Caicedo and Rice. I'm with you on that. If it's Rice and Lavia, I think that is a huge risk. An absolutely massive risk. Unless, as I keep reiterating, unless Arsenal are concerned about those issues off the pitch. And they're thinking, because let's face it, let's look at Manchester United at the moment, right? Mason Greenwood has not been found guilty of anything, right? There's no charges against him. But we all heard the voice notes. We all know what he is. We all know what he is. Like I told you, I'll have uncomfortable conversations on this channel. That's the reason we created this channel. We all know what Mason Greenwood is. Scumbag behaviour. Simple and plain. Doesn't matter if the court found him not guilty or not. Man United are caught in a situation where they're like, you've got a young English player here that could have potentially ended up as maybe £100 million player. But they can't play him because people will destroy them as a football club. So they're trying to loan him out. They're just trying to buy time. So Arsenal are probably looking at Partey the same way and saying, listen, if he ever gets found guilty of anything here, we are in a shocking predicament where no one's going to buy him. We don't want him at the club and we've lost all the money. And you know, Arsenal, a lot of Arsenal is about PR. Unfortunately, it is. So that could be the angle that they're taking. That could be the angle. And the fact he was dropped at the end of the season, I just feel like he's a player that frustrates Arteta at times. Rice and Gundogan is 100% better, but Gundogan's going to be difficult to get, even though he's out of contract. He's got Barcelona, he's got Saudi, he's got Man City. Does the poll take into account his off-field issues? Yeah, I suppose you can. I suppose you can, because it might be there. It might be there. I suppose I'm looking at it more just from a football point of view. Would you sell him if you were rebuilding that midfield then? Let's look at it like that, Cole. Sashiv said, Curtis, remember your fans saying Partey the best DM in the league, comparing him with the likes of Rodri and Casemiro. Like I said, the drop-off was too big. The drop-off was too big, and that's always been my concern with him. How good are you when you're bad? Is something that a coach always used to say to me and a number of other players. He said, I judge players sometimes by how good they are when they're having a bad day. When Thomas Partey is bad, he is shocking. Like, he's absolutely shocking. When he's good, he's outstanding. But the middle ground needs to be there. Gunnarola ran into the ground, still top class for 25 games. And that's my point. If you bring in Rice and you bring in Lavia or you bring in Caicedo, all of a sudden you're saying to Partey, take a break this Saturday. Who've we got? Crystal Palace at home. Yeah, relax. Caicedo and Rice this week. So you're not playing 38 league games. You've also got to remember, this is a guy with huge Champions League experience. You know, we always hear about, oh, we're a young team, blah, blah, blah. You need some know-how in the Champions League. So, again, from a footballing point of view, but it is what it is. Southern Gooner, morning, Big C, possible sell, but the question is, what be coming back? What would be coming in the back door? You know, this manager will buy a winger and play him as a DM, or we'll get another Project Youth signing. You know, Lavia, I like him, good player, but he's 19. He's had 1 year at Southampton, so he's good, but is he better than Thomas Partey? I would say no, not at this stage. Build around your better players. Get rid of the ones that aren't good enough to go to the level that we're trying to go to. For me, I think my question is, why are you selling Thomas Partey, but you're not selling Rob Holding? You're not getting rid of Mohamed El Neni. You're not getting rid of Fabio. You're not getting rid of Eddie and Nketiah. You haven't got rid of Cedric and Nuno and Lokonga yet. It wouldn't be a priority for me to get rid of Partey. But I suppose they're looking at it going, look, 2 years left on his contract, earns big money. Do we just get rid of him now rather than wait until 1 year left and then we're scrambling to get rid of him? Yeah, I know no one wants Holding, but, you know, he was being linked with Sheffield United, who are in the Prem now, Leeds. Somebody would take him if you just sold him for a couple of £1 million. Rather than playing him. Jermaine said, ideally we'd build on top of Partey and he'd be on the bench. However, we all know why he's being sold. We are not a ruthless club, as you can see by the jokers on the books. Title done, so the club is done. And yeah, I mean, what I agree with is I think Arsenal are selling him more for non-footballing reasons. He's still a lot better than the other three centre mids. So, yeah, that I would agree. Simon said, if Partey goes, we need Laviot, Rice and Gundogan. I agree with that. Gunnar Roller said, this is why we never challenge and win. We don't strengthen well. Look at how Real retain the likes of Modric and Kroos while getting Jude and Camavinga. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. When you've got older heads that are still good players, you know, you bring in quality around them so that they can start stepping back. And I know that's Real Madrid, and I know they're a bit of a separate entity, but, you know, they've recognised, okay, we're not going to get a full season out of Modric and Kroos, Camavinga, Jude Bellingham, Valverde. You know, all these Donnies are around them. So now you don't have to rely on them as much. So it's a difficult one. African Giant, why'd you squint your eyes like that, big? Hey, relax, bro, relax. Looking at a screen all day, don't do wonders for your eyes sometimes. I have to make sure I'm reading correctly as well. But big up yourself, bro. Chelsea troll, I call African Giant now. He's always in here having a laugh at our expense. Just make sure Havertz fails that medical, please. We're in no rush for him to join us, that is for sure. Partey out for Laviot is no way an upgrade, said Sakin. And Sajiv said, can't wait for Northside London's video rant. Is that Northside London video rant? Oh, is that another YouTube channel? I'm assuming, what, is he a fan of Partey or not? I don't know, but yeah, big up anyway, bro. Let me end that first poll of the day. Ooh, it's close. It's close. 64% of you saying that we shouldn't sell Thomas Partey, which is interesting. 36% saying, yes, get rid of him. It's a difficult one. It is a difficult one because he's our best centre midfielder. And really, you should be getting rid of the others first. But we know there's a lot of stuff surrounding him off the pitch. And maybe that's getting him, pushing him out of the door. Big up Max, who's been a member for the last couple of months. Big up Big C. Hello from Australia. I thought this window was about building squad depth. Looking more like one in, one out. I totally agree. This window is not supposed to be about replacing. It's about building on top of what you've got. But as I said, this one is a difficult one because, you know, there's other surrounding issues around it. So it is what it is. But listen, from the way that story sounds, it would not surprise me if Thomas Partey left Arsenal this summer. You're not going to get more than 30 million for him. Not with Edu selling, I'm afraid, and the way Arsenal sell players. The Saudis will pay it quick. It ain't going to be Klarna 5-year payment plan. They're going to drop the money. They're going to give him a pay rise, so he's going to want to go. He's 30 years of age. Apparently, he's interested in the deal. It's probably a no-brainer for the club, unfortunately. From a straight footballing point of view, you'd probably say no, keep him, but it could be a case of him going. African Giant said, I need my money, Big C. It's Monday, pay up. Hey, relax yourself, bro. Relax, man. Just Havertz, just please. We'll talk about him later anyway in the show, but big up. And Simon said, if we sell Partey for 45 or 50, we might be able to pay the 90 for Caicedo. Well, that's the only way I would take it, just from a footballing point of view. If Partey goes, get a bit more money for him, then go and get Caicedo and Rice. There's no excuse because Partey's going to pay maybe half the price of one of those two. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. They would have to seriously replace properly if you're getting rid of him. Somebody just asked for a members link. I'll drop it in the comments shortly for anyone that wants to join. El Neni, 33-year-old J20 backup. I mean, El Neni and Jorginho as your backup in the Champions League. Come on, please. We got to move better than that. El Neni can't be getting a new contract. Big C, where are we finishing next season? I mean, bro, how long is a piece of string? One thing's for sure, we're not going to win the league unless something crazy happens this summer and we drop 300 mil. City, I think you could almost say City are going to win the league next season. They're that good at the moment, but it depends what happens over the next month. Assassin said the Saudi league will dominate football in a few years' time. I can see them overtaking the French and Italian leagues if they get players in their prime. Serious money. That's the thing, innit? It's about... You can buy players in their 30s that are looking for a nice long-term retirement plan. Can you get top players in the prime of their career? That's when you'll see how big that pull is to Saudi, But we'll see. We'll see. We've got a decent start to the season in terms of fixtures, which is why I'm so desperate for us to get players through the door quickly. Big up Dre in the chat. Question is, how are we starting? Yeah, I hear you. And make sure you hit the like button, people. Anyway, let's move on. I'm going to try and help Arsenal a little bit here. This is kind of shameless, but we do it. We're a shameless community at times. We embrace it. One thing that Arsenal can produce, people, and that is a damn good training kit. I'm actually shamelessly helping the club out here. Stan Kroenke. You know me, I'm not a fan of that guy, but... let's try and make the club some money. Maybe it'll get them Declan Rice and Kaisado. There's a new training kit out, people. New training kit out this morning. It's the black top with kind of got yellow stripes on one side, blue on the other. It's on the Arsenal website at the moment. I've had a look here, and I have to say, people, I'm in trouble. I mean, the vest. They've got the vest. US Tour, LA... Beverly Hills, 30 degrees. Just go eat. If you see me on that, if you see me wearing that in the next 7 days or so, next day delivery if you order before 4 p.m. Yeah, I'm struggling. I can't, like, if we'd made a big signing, I'd probably be at the Armory right now. But because we haven't, and I'm a little bit, I'm trying to hold back, but I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'm struggling with that one. That's proper. That's proper. Get a couple. I mean, Latte's not even buying training kit at the moment. He's so angry with the lack of signings. But yeah, it's on the Arsenal. It's shameless. I don't even hide from it. They go, you're saying Kroenke out, but you're wearing an Arsenal shirt. I know, people. I'm right. I'll be at the front of the queue with Ty if I have to. But that's clean. That's clean. You might see me wearing that in the next few days. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. But, I'm trying to help with transfers here. It's like GoFundMe, innit? We're trying to get some money in the club. But nah, all jokes aside. Man said Beverly Hills cop settings, Axel Shaw. Yeah, we'll move on from that. That's the shameless part of the show. I'm sorry. That's really shameless. But I just thought I'd spread the word in case, got holidays planned. And you want some stuff to wear. But anyway, we got another. Hey, Elliot's in the building. It's just come out this morning, bro. Have a look. I'm sure the delivery won't take long, Elliot. You're part of the problem. Stop buying kits. Simon said, oh, no, you said that one. Aiden said, imagine if we sell Partey, use the money to get Caicedo and snake Chelsea. Still take Havertz, although the last part is not needed. Have we ever been that ruthless, Aiden? That's the only thing. We're nice. We're nice, you know. Ash said, I'm on my way back to the armory soon. Oh, dear. Listen, it's difficult. Martin Keown says, Thomas Partey is leaving on TalkSport. Well, TalkSport, you know. Well, Keown, he might have a bit of inside info, but let's talk about this, man. Second major part of the show, people. America's finest. Man like Ballers. Big blood clot Balogun scored for the United States last night as they won the Nations League, beating Canada by 2-0. He scored the second goal. Lovely little run, little through ball from Rayner. Out-muscles the defender, near post, bottom corner. Listen, for me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. How on earth? I don't care if, we've got to raise money to buy players, blah, blah, blah. The striker market is as bad as I've ever seen it right now. And I might come across sounding old now here, people. It's my birthday this week, by the way, on Saturday. So we're getting older. The striker market is as weak as I've probably seen it ever in football right now. Most of the top strikers are in their 30s. You've only really got Mbappe and Haaland as young strikers who are at the top level. The rest of them are all in their 30s. Benzi, Lewa, Kane, they're all 30-odd. This guy's 21 years of age. He's just scored 21 goals in the French league. He's gone and played for America. He scored straight away. He's going to go to the World Cup with them. Why on earth would you cash in on him without giving him an opportunity? If you're going to buy Osimhen, or you was going to buy Ivan Toney, or you're going to take a chance on Vlahovic, or you're going to go for somebody big, okay, I might have to hold it and say, okay, it's sad, but at least you've brought someone else. There's no way on earth that anybody can justify selling Balogun without giving him a chance and keeping Eddie Nketiah. How can that be justified at Arsenal Football Club? How? I don't understand it. Just purely go off the eye test. Can anybody tell me, is there anybody in the chat that thinks Eddie's better than Balogun? And we can say French League, I get it. Lacazette scored 25 goals in France this season. So I do get it. French League tax, okay, cool. But for every bad one in France, there is a good one as well. Payet ripped up the French League, ripped up the Prem. There's many examples of players coming from France, Eden Hazard and whatever. But Balogun deserves an opportunity at this football club. I don't care what anyone says. Even if it's just pre-season and you look at him in pre-season, you take him to America, you look at him against United, Barcelona, the Emirates Cup. They're talking about 30-odd million pounds to get rid of him. 30-odd million, yet I'm seeing Atalanta with this brother Højlund, B-Tech Højlund they call 60 million they're asking for this guy. He scored 9 goals last season. They want 60 million pounds. We're talking about 35 million for Balogun at 21 years of age. I do not get this whatsoever. I don't agree with it. Keep him. He said after the game that he doesn't want to go on loan next season. So he's putting Arsenal in a predicament where it's like, you either use me properly or I'm leaving. He's not going to sit here and be third choice behind Eddie and Nketiah. Let's get another poll up. Let me get a few suggestions in here. Balogun. What should Arsenal do? Because he's saying he doesn't want to go on loan, right? Would you sell him? Would you keep him? Would you sell Nketiah and keep Balogun? Because realistically, I don't think you can keep both of them because he's not going to want to be third choice. The thing in football, once you get a taste of first team football at a good level, you can't go back to just being a backup player. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And he's done well. He deserves a chance. I'm sorry. I don't often say this with Arsenal, right? When we sold Willock, I said I got no problem with that. I think he'll do all right. I don't think he's got top level potential. When we sold Iwobi, I was cool with that. I thought that was a great price for him. You know, selling a young player always has a risk because every now and then you sell a Gnabry. You know, that's the problem. Balogun, for me, I think if we sell him at the prices they're quoting, if somebody said to me now, listen, someone's offered 60 million for Balogun, 50 million for him with a big sell-on clause, I'd be like, okay, maybe you've got to think about that because that's huge money for a 21-year-old. But 30 to 35 million, no chance am I selling him. Give him the chance. I'm telling you now, he has got more ability than Eddie Nketiah. There's just no doubt about it. He's Arsenal through and through, came through the youth system. He's proved himself in France. Yeah, hasn't done what other players have done at this football club, young players, and just sat there on the bench, happy to not play. He said, get me out on loan, went to the Championship, had a tough loan at Middlesbrough. Get me out on loan again, I'll go to France. I've got to play, I've got to prove myself. He deserves it. I agree with this. Listen, we don't know how good he will be in the English Prem. We've only seen him in France. But he's probably going to think, if I was Balogun, I'd be saying, listen, not only should you go to Arsenal and push Eddie Nketiah out the way, you should be putting pressure on Gabriel Jesus. I don't care how much he cost. I don't care how much wages he's on. He scored 11 goals last season. If you can produce that French form in England, you've got a chance. But listen, that's a whole different conversation. For me, sit him down, tell him you're going to get a fair opportunity. We've got 4 competitions. We need another striker. And I would sell Eddie Nketiah. You could even try and sell Eddie to West Ham. West Ham are about to sell Scamacca to Roma. That leaves them with only Mikel Antonio. And Antonio's in his 30s. In fact, no, they got Danny Ings as well, but he's in his 30s. So they might want another striker. They've been interested in Eddie before as well. And what would you do with Flo Balogun? GJB Guna said, sell him with a buyback clause, or if not, getting 50 million plus. And then bin Eddie. Guna ER said, sell Jesus, bring in Balogun. Nah, I wouldn't do that. You got to keep Gabby, but... Southern Guna said Balogun has an edge about him. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. This is what we need. What I love about his attitude, he said straight away, yo, get me out on loan. I need first team football. The Middlesbrough loan didn't go well for him, by the way. You know, he could have sat there and gone, oh, just sit on the Arsenal bench, be third choice, get 5-6 games. You know, he said, no, get me out on loan again. French league, first team football, good level. Proved himself. 21 goals, bang. Now he's coming back saying, yo, I want first team football. England, he said, yo, I'm disappointed I'm not in the England squad. I'm playing for America. Born in New York, international football. He wants it. I love that. I've got no problem with that. People saying he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, but as long as he handles that in the right way, that's fine. All the best players had a chip on their shoulder. They've all got that arrogance and belief. I've got no problem with it. He's got great movement. He can finish. He can lead the line by himself. Listen, I'm not saying he's the finished article. I've watched him a few times. There are flaws in his game. But the number one thing I look at from a striker is you know how to hit the back of the net on a regular basis. And that's the starting point for me. He's 21. I would absolutely keep him. Now, the issue you've got, 2 years left on his deal. So I think Arsenal would have to sell Eddie and give him a new contract. So... but this is going to be interesting. Let me know in the comments. Black, big up, bro. Arteta doesn't want to hinder Eddie's development. That's the kind of talk you'll probably get from Arsenal. Oh, we gave him 100 grand a week and we don't want to... That's the kind of talk you would get if they sell him, which would be typical Arsenal, I'm afraid. But hopefully they don't do that. Mr. Rose, did Eddie even do what Balogun did on loan at Leeds? Bro, they sent him back. They took him on loan for 12 months and sent him back after 6. That's like buying a shirt from a shop and taking it back, having no receipt and saying, I don't even want my money back. Just take the shirt back. That's what Leeds did with Eddie. They said, just take him back. Yeah, but you've paid for him. You can't get your money back. Just have him. We don't want him. They went with Bamford instead. It's that real, people. So, listen, it's going to be interesting. For me, Balogun has to be kept. Eddie... Listen, people say sometimes you're too harsh on Eddie, blah, blah, blah. I know I joke about it sometimes, Eddie Murphy, Axel Foley, all of that. Information and entertainment, people. But is Eddie going to become a top quality striker at Arsenal? I don't think so. I just don't see it. So, for me, move him on. Get what you can for him. Give Balogun an opportunity. It makes sense to get rid of Eddie. He's on 100k. Balogun seems further along and will be cheaper. Exactly. Get him on a lower wage. Eddie is not the answer. You know, we're going in Champions League next year. We had a 3-month injury to Gabriel Jesus this season. Imagine 3 months in the Champions League with Eddie and Nketiah up front. What's going on? Give me a second. I have to get the charger, people, before this laptop turns off. But yeah, you can't have Eddie leading the line in the Bernabeu. I'm not trying to get embarrassed in the Champions League, people. It's been 6 years. Balogun, we haven't seen his ceiling yet. We have seen Nketiah's ceiling, and no, it's not a Champions League level. Did you see the Balogun and Matt Turner saying about Arsenal representation? I didn't even see that. Big up Ash, I will look into that. But yeah, Balogun, he was interviewed after the game, asked about Arsenal, said, listen, I know one thing's for sure, I will not go back on loan. So he wants first-team football, and he said he's concentrating on now. So I think America are playing in the Gold Cup now as well. So he won't be back at Arsenal for a number of weeks. I'm sure they'll have conversations then. John Layout, big up, bro. He's got the Danielson picture back. Bring Balogun back. Half of the Invincibles had a chip on their shoulder. How do you think Messi and Ronaldo made it to the top? Listen, one thing about top athletes... And anything, even if you're in an office, even if you're a dustbin man, whatever. If you're good at your job, don't feel like it's wrong to believe that you're very good at your job. I always think in this country especially, it's like they take it that if you know how good you are, it's like, oh, you're arrogant. You know, and I don't look at it like, if you're very good at what you do, don't feel wrong saying, yo, damn right I know I'm good. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. Have that self-belief. Don't rub it in people's face, but back yourself, man. Yeah, I'm good at my job, man. I can do this. So, yeah, man, listen. Balogun having a bit of arrogance. Personally, I got to be honest. I actually want a few players at Arsenal that have got a bit of a chip on their shoulder and a bit of arrogance, you know. We're a bit too nice at times, you know. And I want a little bit of that edge. Anelka, Lasuk, that little Omri, all these guys, they all had a chip on their shoulder. Cantona at United, yeah, man. So, yeah, no problem for me. No problem. Keep him and get rid of Eddie. 51% of you saying get rid of Nketiah. 33% say keep Balogun as well. So, yeah, what's that then? 64% of you basically want to keep him, which is true in my opinion. Keep him, unless we're getting huge money for him. 100% Big C, self-belief, proper mentality. Listen, don't play down your own talents. Don't play them down because other people sometimes feel uncomfortable because you're talented at something and maybe, you know, maybe some people aren't as talented, which is the reality of life, innit? If you're talented, man, speak on that, man. Enjoy it and praise yourself at times. You got to be your own biggest fan as well. Anyway, from the heights of talking about Balogun and the potential for the future, we're about to go downhill real quick, people. We're about to go downhill. People have been saying in the comments, why are you avoiding talking about Kai Havertz? I mean, you know, it's a subject that I have to build myself up to this conversation. Because in typical Arsenal fashion, when there's a player that most of us want, Caicedo or Declan Rice or, you know, other transfer windows, it's like, are we ever going to get this deal done? But with Kai Havertz, it seems as if it's edging ever closer. Ricky, all right, arrogant but respectful, exactly, as long as you're respectful. But let's talk about Kai Havertz, people. If you want to make a cup of tea or a drink, you want to go for a quick walk, maybe come back in 5 minutes. But listen, ESPN reporting this morning, Chelsea are now under pressure to drop the asking price for Kai Havertz. I bet they are, by the way. After being informed that he has no intention of signing a new contract, Arsenal are interested in pursuing a move, but have so far proved reluctant to meet the 70 million valuation. Now, let me talk about Kai Havertz. As I said on Friday, I capped a little bit. I spent a couple of minutes trying to justify how we will use him and what we can potentially do if we sign him. It's difficult. I'm sorry. It was hard to do, but I tried. Now, interestingly enough, Germany played against Poland at the weekend. Germany were beaten 1-0. There was a 2-minute compilation put up on Twitter of Havertz basically having a stinker. Unfortunately, it was not going well. And interestingly enough, Kiwior scored the winning goal for Poland in the game. The Kiwi was ripe this weekend. So Havertz was playing against Kiwior and he did nothing against him. He played up front, didn't look good, and Kiwior scored. Maybe we should put Kiwior up front instead of Kai Havertz. It definitely wasn't a game that made you think, oh, maybe we should get Kai Havertz. It was a stinker. He was having bad first touch. His shots were timid. It wasn't good. But apparently over the weekend, he's had conversations with Chelsea and he's informed Chelsea that he will not be extending his contract. Chelsea apparently have said, sign a new deal or we're selling you. He doesn't want to sign a new contract, so they're going to sell him. They're now saying that they are prepared to reduce the price. Arsenal had a £55 million offer rejected last week. They want 70. It's believed the meeting point will probably be around that £60 million mark. As I've said on numerous occasions, I don't understand how Chelsea are able to get £60 million for a guy that has been absolutely bang average at best for 3 seasons. Yeah, we can talk about the Champions League goal, but that only holds so much weight. You know, that doesn't make you a £60 million player because you scored an important goal. I'm a little bit baffled at how they're able to recoup that much money for him and how Arsenal are prepared to pay that much money for him. But that's a whole other conversation. Now, he's informed Chelsea he won't sign a new deal. They're going to sell him. They're cashing in left, right and centre at the moment. If you've seen the news today, Edouard Mendy has agreed terms with a club in Saudi. Hakim Ziyech has agreed terms with a club in Saudi as well. So that's 2 players on their way out. They're still trying to sell Mount to Manchester United and they're trying to bump us with Havertz as well. And on top of that, I think, who was the other one? It was Kovacic to Manchester City. So I don't know how they're able to get that much money. He's on 220 grand a week, £60 million. Unbelievable business from them considering how poor he's been for them. But we're going for him. Why can't we sell Pepe to Saudi? I think they were being linked. Now, I just want to... Yeah, Koulibaly's being linked with a move as well. I just wanted to look at this because this is how I was talking about the other day, about how I think Kai Havertz will play in this team. If we're talking about Kai Havertz as a striker, he is absolutely outrageously poor. I'm sorry, it's as simple as that. It's painful watching him play up front. He's horrendous. This is how I think they will try and fit him into the team. The positions are a little bit out of touch with where they would be. Obviously, Havertz and Odegaard would be a little bit more narrow. Let me zoom in on this a little bit so you can see it's a bit more. But I think this is how Mikel Arteta wants to play. So, in possession, this is how Manchester City have played this season with this box, this square in midfield. Havertz would be a little bit more central. Odegaard would be a little bit more central. And obviously, Saka would be out wide and Martinelli would be wider, but they don't have that formation on here. This is how I think we will try and play next season in possession, assuming that Rice is signed as well. I think Partey will either be sold or benched next season. So when we've got the ball, you go to the back 3, Gabriel, Saliba and White. That's your security. You've got 3 at the back. Zinchenko drops into midfield next to Declan Rice. That's your 2 sort of DMs, your protection. Odegaard and Havertz as your attacking midfielders. And then Martinelli, Saka out wide, Jesus through the middle. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a fan of Havertz, but I think in possession going forward, that would cause a lot of problems. Like I said, Havertz and Odegaard wouldn't be this wide. It's just you can't adjust it. Those two would be in here. So you would have that square and then your two wingers. So you end up with Havertz, Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka, Jesus all in attack. So you have 5 players in attack. You create overloads. City have done that with Gundogan and De Bruyne as the attacking mids. Grealish and Bernardo out wide. Haaland through the middle. Listen, Gunnar, it is copium. But I'm also resigned to the fact that we're probably going to end up signing this guy. And as much as I don't rate Havertz, I still believe that he can't be that bad as an attacking midfielder. He just can't be. As a striker, he's absolutely horrendous. He's awful up front, in my opinion. But as an attacking midfielder, I think that's where Arsenal are going to play him. I think he wants 2 creative players behind the attackers. And then you've got the Zinchenko, Rice as your protection with your back 3. It's 100% copium, but that's how I think we're going to use him. Because for me, I don't think we're going to pay £60 million for Havertz as a striker, because he's not a better striker than Jesus. And they're not going to spend £60 million to put him on the bench. So that's my thoughts, people. That's the only way that you get something out of him. Do you know the 2 things I would say straight away to go against it? I've got 2 questions to ask about that situation. So I'm going against myself here as well. I'm having an argument. Number 1, would you not just maybe go with ESR in that role? England international, one of our own, gave him the number 10 shirt. Hey, ER, I will not be buying that Havertz shirt, trust me. But why would you not just play ESR in that role? Second of all, if you feel that ESR can't play that role, why don't you go and buy James Maddison for 40 million, who plays that role? He's a specialist in the Prem. One of the most creative attacking midfielders in the league. Just been relegated. Why spend 60 million, 220 grand a week on a guy that is completely out of form? Totally finished at the moment in the Prem. It's a rescue mission, and I don't know why you would spend so much money and so much wages on a guy that is totally out of form. That is my concern. I think if you sign James Maddison and play him in that role, you're guaranteed creativity and goals out of him. He's on form in the Prem, despite the fact his team got relegated. You're signing Havertz, and if Havertz looks the same as he's looked at Chelsea, it's a disaster. James Maddison got 10 goals, 9 assists this season in a team that got relegated. Last season, he got 12 goals, 8 assists. 20 goal contributions last year and 19 this year, right? Havertz this year, playing up front, by the way, in a better team, not much better, by the way, Chelsea, but better than Leicester, got 7 goals, 1 assist. He contributed 8 goals this season in 30 starts, 35 appearances. So it is a rescue mission. All we can cling to is, can you revitalise him and get the Leverkusen Havertz back in a team that plays better football, quicker football than Chelsea? That's all we can hope for. I got to be honest. Yeah, Joe Linton, he was one of the worst strikers in the Premier League. Centre mid, he's an absolute beast. But Havertz doesn't have that aggression about him that Joe Linton's got. But that's all we've got, people. That is all I can give you. I'm sort of trying to cling to the fact that Arteta this year turned Granit Xhaka into a far better player. Can he do something like that with Havertz? You know, Kai inverts, that is an absolute banger. That's all we're clinging to at the moment, people. Nelson said Madrid won't go near 50 million. Only Arsenal can get in a bidding war in a one-horse race for a player. A team are desperate to sell. I agree. Paying 60 million when they want to sell him, they need money, and he's got 2 years left and won't sign a new deal is outrageous. If I was Arsenal, I'd have said 50 million, take it or leave it. Reject, all right, cool, we'll go elsewhere. Go elsewhere. There's no way we're having a fight with ourselves at the moment. It's like watching, what's that film, man, Jim Carrey? Me, Myself and Irene. You know, we're flipping between personalities and having a fight with ourselves. It's mad. Give Chelsea 45 million, say you want it. All right, cool. All right, leave it. No one else is going to pay for him. 60 million. If I speak, I'm suspended at least 6 months. Disturbed Digital, Saudi have an indirect stake in Chelsea, hence the Saudi transfers. Oh, possibly. Possibly. Looks like they're going to sign 3 players. Yeah, whole heap of clutching at straws. Whole heap of clutching. Anyway, let's move on. No more Havertz talk anyway. It gives me a headache. We'll probably end up signing him first. You can just see it happening. It'd be typical Arsenal. He'll be the first one. The PR will go crazy, but I'm just trying to explain how I think he will play in this team. Couple more stories before we round up. Of course, it wouldn't be a transfer show without talking about Declan Rice, of course. It's the main guy we're being linked with. Now, story over the weekend that came out is that apparently Arsenal, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Arsenal caused a bit of a stir in West Ham. It's crazy, but we offered £80 million, but apparently West Ham were very frustrated with the structure of the offer. Apparently the deal was £80 million to be paid over 6 years. West Ham have clearly put out there in the press, everybody has seen the reports from West Ham, they want the dough over 2 years. And Arsenal go, how about 6 years? And they're going, are you winding us up? What are you actually doing here? Like, Arsenal are the only club that can offer £80 million for a player and make that club angry because of the way you've offered. What is wrong with Arsenal Football Club? And this is why I argue so much about the Kroenkes and about Edu and these people. People defend them by saying, but they offered 70 million for Kaisado. They offered 80 million for Mudryk. What more do you want them to do? They've offered 80 million for Declan Rice. They're prepared to break the record. They're backing the manager. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's not what they're doing. It's how they're doing it. If I offer you £500,000 for your house, but you're not getting the money for 100 years, that ain't going to help you. If I say to you now, I'll buy your car for 3 times more than it's worth, but give me 20 years to pay you the money, it doesn't matter. I can say, yo, your 10 grand car, I offered them 30 grand for it and they wouldn't take it. That was an ambitious offer. I did everything that I could. No, the brother wants the money now so he can go and buy a replacement. What do you mean 6 years? They told you in black and white, 2 years, pay all the money. We offered it in 6. And then they're sitting here thinking, oh, why's Declan Rice been rejected? It's quite simple. We offered 80 million with a 10 million add-on if we won the Prem or the Champions League. The Champions League that we've never won and the Premier League we haven't won for 20 years. So West Ham are going, so let me get this right. They've offered 80 million over 6 years, which is less than their asking price and a longer period of time to pay it than the 2 years that they demanded. Okay, so they're not happy with that. And they've offered a 10 million add-on. Champions League, they've never won it in their history. Premier League, they haven't won it for 20 years. And West Ham are going, are these men serious? These guys just finished second in the Prem. They're talking about winning the league. And that's the offer. Come on, please, man. Just sort them. And this is why I say the Kroenkes. People go, oh, yeah, but it's Edu's fault. It's Arteta's fault. Well, who hired these guys? Who hired them? If anyone in this chat was ever lucky enough to become a billionaire and you hire somebody to run that business, I'm pretty sure you're not going to hire someone who struggles at that job. You're going to hire someone who's gone, listen, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. I am top level at this job. Not a guy that doesn't know how to negotiate big transfers or unless it's a release clause or you're a Portuguese-speaking player. They need to be careful. I'm telling you now, if you see social media and you see Gundogan leave Man City, let's see what happens. Because that's all they're waiting for. They're just waiting for Gundogan to leave Man City. And then they'll go and get him. Forget all that he wants to stay in London madness. Pep will turn up and say, don't worry about London. How about winning trophies? How about we double your wages? How about you play for the best football club in the world? You think he'll be that? Oh yeah, living in London, winning the Champions League. All right, I'm off. This one, we're running out of time. We got to get this deal done now. The second offer needs to be accepted. Stop making stupid add-ons. We ain't winning the Champions League. We haven't won the Prem for 20 years. Give them money that they can get. 92 million plus 10 million in achievable add-ons probably gets you the deal. So stop messing around, Arsenal. It's embarrassing. We're the only club that offer big money and embarrass ourselves. I don't get it. I do not get it. Him wanting to stay in London won't be enough when Pep comes knocking. That knocks... You know when Raul said, oh, when we knock, it's different. When Pep knocks, it's a different knock. Trust me. That's a different knock. So, listen, there was a report last week that Declan Rice was saying he wanted his future secured before going on holiday. Now, England play tonight against North Macedonia. Good news, Saka is back in full training. Obviously, Saka came off injured for England against Malta at the weekend, but it's not a major injury. He's back in training with England. So, you know, the likes of Declan Rice and these guys are probably going to go on holiday tomorrow. So you've got to get these deals done. You've got to get these deals done quickly. Otherwise, we're going to mess up the city. We're going to mess up. It's a great opportunity. It's your number one target. Caicedo's making progress to Chelsea. So now you've got to get Declan Rice. There's no way we can finish this window without Caicedo or without Rice. You've got to get one of them at the very, bare minimum. So we'll see. Big week for Arsenal, as I said. Chris said, Curtis, you're reaching for Havertz. Fans can make a difference. United fans stop the signing of Arnautovic. Listen, the problem is, bro, I can't do it by myself. If 70% of the big accounts are fully capping for him, then what can we do? We'll sign Havertz. They'll put up compilations of his best bits from Leverkusen and the odd bit he did at Chelsea, and he'll hold up the Arsenal shirt, and then you'll get the interview from Arteta about how good he was at Leverkusen. He's a Champions League winner, and that'll be that. This fan base, unfortunately, don't want to work together. Breaking news, Ornstein. Bernardo Silva has received a lucrative Saudi offer. Talks have taken place with Mendes. Financial numbers discussed. These men aren't playing. These men are not playing games, man. I'm telling you. They're serious. They're serious, man. Havertz created the most chances out of possession last season. I mean, listen, man, I can't, that's not enough. Hey, I know. Expected goals and all that. These modern day stats that don't actually mean that much. That's not enough to convince me he's worth 60 mil, 200 grand a week. Young Gunnar, Edu negotiating transfers is like walking around a car dealership with 30k knowing we need 50k to buy a car. Our transfer dealings are shocking. It's unbelievable. It is actually unbelievable. They're like, I don't know. I just don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see where he ends up. But one final bit of news, people, before we round up the show. It's surrounding Nizar Kinsella, who is very good with Chelsea in the Standard. He said that Arsenal still do retain an interest in Moises Caicedo. Despite the current 100 million Declan Rice focus, Chelsea remain strong favourites, but certain circumstances could trigger a challenge from North London. This story doesn't mean a lot, if I'm being totally honest. The report basically says that if Thomas Partey leaves, we're going to go all in for Caicedo. That could be too late. Chelsea might have him holding up the shirt by the time you figure out whether you want him or not. So again, what I don't understand with Arsenal, right? And people will go, yeah, negotiation, big contracts, takes a lot of time, blah, blah, blah. People told us the Champions League would make the difference. Go and get your player. The crazy thing is, we didn't get Vlahovic because he didn't want to come to Arsenal, because we weren't at a high enough level. We're now back at that level. We're back in the Champions League. Caicedo, look at the difference between Caicedo's energy when Chelsea made an offer for him in January. Chelsea made an offer, you never heard nothing from him. There were rumours that, yeah, he's interested. He was calm. When Arsenal offered for him, he put Instagram posts up. He put the longest story you've ever read. Told us all about his brothers and sisters. He was capping beyond belief to get to Arsenal. And we still can't get him. Why? Because Unfortunately, in the transfer market, we do not act like a big club. I've said it before and I've said it a million times. We can sit here until next week talking about we're a big club, talking about the history, talking about the fan base, talking about the trophies from back in the day. That's cool. Modern day players don't care about that. They're not interested. Caicedo is 21. He's never seen Arsenal win the Premier League. He never seen it. He would have been, 2-3 years old when we won the title. So unless he's going on YouTube, he don't know about Arsenal winning the Prem. Doesn't know. What he knows is Man City have won 5-6 Prems in the last 7 years. What he knows is Chelsea won the Champions League 2-3 years ago. They know that. They saw that. They're interested in how good a club you are, how good a team you are. Arsenal can't keep living off the past. And this is one of the biggest problems with this football club. The Invincibles, I love it. I celebrate it. I put it on the green screen. It's an amazing part of our history that we should cling to and appreciate. But we can't use that to try and elevate ourselves and move forward because it don't mean nothing. If you have an argument now of a Man City fan, say, yo, we're a bigger club than you. All right, cool. So what? So what? They've just won the treble. Don't mean nothing. If we went for a player with Man City, they'd all go to Man City. Doesn't matter about the history. Doesn't matter about Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Arsene Wenger, the Invincibles. Doesn't matter. Pep is waiting in the background going, you know what? If Gundogan leaves, we'll sign Declan Rice. Yeah, but boss, Arsenal are in advanced talks to sign them. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm Pep. We just won the treble. Don't matter if he wants to stay in London. Don't matter if he wants to go to Arsenal. He wants to go to Arsenal because Arsenal are Declan Rice's best option for him right now. He doesn't want to go Bayern Munich because the German league's not great and he's young. He wants to prove himself in the Prem. He doesn't want to go Man United. They haven't been as good as us this season. They're being taken over. It's a bit unstable there at the moment. But we all know if City turn up at the door, it goes out the window because they will outbid us. They will offer him more wages. He'll go to the stadium and look at the free trophies. All that staying in London goes out the window. Arsenal, if you want Declan Rice, pay the 90 million plus add-ons and sign him. Stop messing around. Stop waiting. You don't have time. If you think you want Caicedo instead, go to Brighton, throw down the bag and sign him. Because I've just got this crazy feeling that we could somehow end up with none of them. Caicedo probably going to end up at Chelsea. Because don't get twisted, Chelsea are just clearing the deck right now. Chelsea are clearing the deck. If you look at it today, Koulibaly, Ziyech, and Edward Mendy are all in advanced talks to go to Saudi. 3 players on big wages straight away out the door. They'll sell Havertz to us. They'll sell Mount probably to United, Kovacic to City, and they're being linked with Conor Gallagher and Loftus-Cheek. So that's 8 players out the door. As soon as they clear the deck, Todd Bowley's going to go back into the transfer market and start acting wild again. Start acting. Caicedo, yep, done deal. 100 mil, take it. We can't walk around saying we're a big club. We have to act like a big club. I don't want to hear this, we're a big club talk. Act like it. Show us you're a big club. Turn up at West Ham, say, yo, Declan Rice, your best player. Yo, grab him, snatch him. Dash the money at him and leave. We don't need to be friends. Forget friendship. Friendship with Brighton's got us nowhere. The friendship at Brighton's got us nowhere. Go and take their best player and leave. We have to act like a big club. This cannot be the summer that Mikel Arteta gets plan B and plan C again. Because if it is, we won't make no progress. We'll be back to square one next season, scrambling to get top 4. He needs to say, I wanted Declan Rice and I got him. I wanted Caicedo and I got him. I wanted a right back of high quality and I got him. And then we can see what we're capable of. If we have another mediocre transfer window, the results won't be there because City are on a different level. To take that City team, you've got to create something exceptional in your team. The only team that has stopped that City team is Liverpool. And Liverpool, for a number of years, were exceptional. That front three, we've been on the receiving end of it. Where, you know, Salah and Firmino and Mane were ripping teams to shreds. And they only managed to get 1 title off them. And they were that good. So if we got any hope of trying to win the title, we've got to go to the next level. You're not getting to the next level with a team full of Plan B and Plan C signings. So listen, it's interesting, but for me, it's a ticking time bomb at the moment with Arsenal. The longer they wait, the more difficult this is going to get, because clubs will sell players, and then it's the domino effect. They can go and get players once they've got the money. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. Don't mind Arsenal walking away from ridiculous deals. Problem is we only walk away once the deal is dragged on. Well, if you go there early, you don't like it, you move, you get someone else. But that, you know, we constantly have offers rejected and then don't get the player. A Highbury's local badger. We are bigger than all of the KSE American clubs. We have heritage. We are global, but the Croncays pisses all over our mighty club, and the owner said, I bought Arsenal not for trophies. I mean, they keep telling us the narrative will change, but we're still waiting for it. People say, oh yeah, but they've backed Arteta since he's been here. Yeah, they have to a certain point. Some of the money's been wasted, and that is on the manager and Edu. But have they backed him enough to win the title? To overcome that Man City team? Not really. Not really. 150, 120 million. Like I said, Forest spent more than Arsenal last summer. So, something's got to change. 2 weeks until pre-season. Internationals finish over the next day or so. Players want to get deals done. Arsenal need to get a signing done this week, in my opinion. You got to get Declan Rice done. It's going to be typical. I'm saying we need to get a deal done, and you watch. We'll go and sign Havertz this week. The one that I don't want to get done, we'll sign Havertz this week for £60 million. And Chelsea will take that 60 million, smile, and go and buy Caicedo for 80 million. So, absolutely unbelievable. But let's try and stay patient. Nothing has really happened yet. So, it's not the time for meltdowns. It's just, it's concerning. You know, it's concerning is what I will say. Let me end with the craziest story of the weekend, people. Craziest story of the weekend, and that is regarding another Streets Won't Forget player, and that is Alexis Sanchez, baby. Alexis Sanchez. Oh, apparently Arsenal have rejected the chance to re-sign Alexis Sanchez this summer. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has reportedly given a swift rejection to Alexis Sanchez's request to join the club after being called by the former Gunners star. The Spaniard reportedly informed his former teammate that he did not fit into the club's plans, with younger players preferred as Arsenal seek to challenge for the title. Alexis, who is a free agent now, and of course played at Arsenal with Mikel Arteta, rang him directly, man, and said, yo, sign me, man. And he said, no, I can't do it. Arteta said no, man. The computer said no. Listen, I loved Alexis Sanchez when he was at Arsenal. I think we all did. For me, one of the best players, if not the best player of the Emirates era. I'd certainly be in that conversation, but yeah, it's not that time. I mean, listen, I'm not going to cap. 14 goals, 3 assists last season in France, but he turns 35 this year. It's just not. It's not the way to go. Team of the season, Sanchez. He was serious, man. I loved Sanchez. What a player. But nah, there's just no point doing that. We've got to sign better than that. Michael O'Connor said, Curtis, remember last week Chris Hudson was saying he heard it was Edu and Arteta who balked at signing Kaisado in January, not the Croncays. He did say that. Yep, he did. So, no Alexis Sanchez back at Arsenal. Raul said, Alexis is the best. I would take him over Eddie. I mean, listen, I'm not even going to cap. I would take him over Eddie as well. But, yeah, it's not going to happen. But what a player he was. People, thank you very much for tuning in. Great show as always. Nearly 3,000 of you in the chat. Brilliant support. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you like this video. Comment if you're watching it after. What's your thoughts on Partey leaving? Would you sell him? Would you go back in for Caicedo? And Declan Rice deal seems to have hit a bit of a brick wall. Kai Havertz is the one closest to signing. What are your thoughts on Havertz? I tried to put a positive spin on it a little bit, even though it's pretty difficult. Where would you play him? I showed you the formation that I would use. play him in that attacking midfield role behind Jesus. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your Monday, people, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bless.